posted too.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. Again, good morning, everyone. My name is James Borkman, the Director of Procurement and the Contract Officer for this Works Progress Administration project, Fillmore Street, with our partners over at the Chicago Department of Transportation. We're here for the pre-bid and tech review meeting. We'll start with the pre-bid meeting and move into the tech review meeting immediately following. I go ahead and start with a brief agenda for today, what we're going to cover. We're going to have some introductions. We'll talk about the procurement details. We'll introduce our compliance team, and they'll be more than happy to review the information for the compliance portion of the project. We'll introduce our tech review team, Civil Tech, and the CDOT partners, CDOT department that they're working with. And then at the end, we'll have a brief Q&A where we can answer some of your questions. We'd again ask that you please hold all questions until the end of the presentation. So we'll start with some brief introductions. Again, my name is James Borkman with the Public Building Commission of Chicago. Ray
Gitteroff, Acting Executive Director, Public Building Commission.
Miguel Minnie.
Minnie Keys, PBC, Procurement.
Good morning, Minnie. We also have Miguel Fernandez on with the Public Building Commission. He's also part of the procurement team. Our Director of Compliance, Patrice.
Patrice Doyle, Director of Compliance.
Morning, Patrice. And we also have our Director of Controls on, Lisa Gitteroff.
Good morning.
Good morning. And I think that's it from the PBC side. Oh, Kim Smith, I'm sorry, with compliance.
Good morning, Kim Smith, Compliance.
And Mark? Well, we also have Mark Lindstrom from development side. And I'll go ahead and turn it over now to our CDOT partners. David, if you want to take it away.
Yeah, great. Thanks, James. Dave Miller, Assistant Chief Highway Engineer, Chicago Department of Transportation. With me is Project Manager Jacqueline Samuel. Jackie, you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, this is Jacqueline Samuel with CDOT, WPA Program Manager.
And Nick and the Civil Tech Design Team, would you all introduce yourselves?
Sure. Good morning. My name is Nick Mayerswan. I'm with Civil Tech Engineering, engineer of record for this project. And Tom?
Morning, Tom Conson with Civil Tech Engineering, the designer for this project.
Thank you, guys. Good morning. And then I know that we have some contractors, subcontractors, and suppliers on the line. If you'd like to briefly introduce yourself, I know we have a member of FH Passion on.
Hi, good morning. This is Daryl Lesney from FH Passion.
Morning, Daryl. I believe we also have Veronica on. If you want to introduce yourself, Veronica. Okay. Is there anyone else that I left off? Okay. Well, let's get this show on the road. We can talk about the procurement itself. So this project is a Works Progress Administration project. The location is on West Fillmore Street. We'll go into more details whenever we get into the tech review, but on West Fillmore Street from South Campbell Avenue to where the street dead ends, near some railroad tracks. The general scope of work is that which is generally associated with this type of project. We have full depth pavement reconstruction, special excavation, Portland cement concrete base course, a hot mix asphalt surface course, sewer main and drainage structures, water main, lighting, concrete curb, gutter, ADA, curb ramps, sidewalks, driveways, and alleys. We're also expecting pavement markings and signage, topsoil sodding, and tree planting towards the end. We'll talk about that briefly. And then the associated site development work. The time of completion is as listed here in Book 1. I've copied it over for the benefit of those on the call. We have three essential scheduled milestones. Milestone 1, mobilization, the substantial completion, and then the tree planting. Ray, would you like to briefly talk about any of the scheduled milestones?
Thank you, James. I
And
will
briefly introduce the project. Sorry, I forgot. I apologize.
Oh, no, it's okay. Thank you for starting the meeting. During the tech review portion of the meeting, development staff will review the milestones and the substantial completion date. But just wanted to say we're excited to continue working with our partners at CDOT, Dave and Jacqueline, you and your entire team. We've had a great deal of success working with our partners at CDOT related to these very important investments throughout the city. In this case, the Fillmore project, previously the Medill project. Between CDOT and PBC, we've spent a great deal of time on understanding the scope, updating the contract documents to reflect the scope, communicating with stakeholders, including our input related to the time of completion requirements. Clearly, James Porkman and his procurement staff will discuss the procurement schedule. You'll notice here on this slide and later discussed further the intent behind, milestone 1 and our ability to convey to our bidding community what we mean by milestone 1, to give ample time, sufficient time to plan, to permit, to prepare submittals prior to the start of construction, which will occur at the end of April next year, ensuring that we understand the complete scope of work and the time required to complete the scope as listed there under substantial completion, which will be reviewed in detail during the tech review portion. And then understanding that there is time provided to complete the tree planting after September 30th, 2024. So it was really important to us. We take a great deal of pride, David, as you know, together, in making sure that we have a complete set of documents, and our high level of confidence in the information listed in the documents to get through award, to get through NTP, which James Borkman will reference here momentarily, ensuring that the scope is understood. So to that end, James, I'll turn it back over to you and David and Jacqueline and Nick and Tom. Without you, we wouldn't be successful on our previous job, and I'm 100% confident we're going to be successful on this project for you as well. So David, to you and your team, thank you for the opportunity, of course. And then James, I'll hand it back over to you.
Thank you, Ray. I appreciate it. So as Ray stated, we'll briefly go through later on in more detail the scheduled milestones, but these have been put together with great deal of effort and input by both parties. As a result, the contract book makes clear that there are liquidated damages for failure to achieve the substantial completion and the milestone dates. That's $1,000 per day for failure to achieve SC and $500 per day to achieve the milestones. The availability of documents is similar to the last project we did with CDOT. We're using Cushing & Company this round. Everyone should have access to the PBC plan room there. It's linkable on our website as well as on Book One in Book One. The printer contact information is on this slide should anyone need it. Jorge Galvin has been great to work with, and he makes it easy should you need copies of any of the documentations for the project. As is tradition with the PBC, we also include a list of assist agencies to assist our contractors in meeting our MWBE and EEO goals. All of the assist agencies have a digital copy of the plans available to download for them and can assist in helping you with those areas. Following this meeting, we'll have a tech review meeting. Should start about 10:30. Site visit, there's no site visit scheduled. However, we do want to ensure that you are familiar with this site. As you'll hear from the civil tech team and our development team, the site is a unique space, and the bidders are required to become familiar with that space. So we highly encourage you schedule a site visit. to check out the space if you're interested in bidding on this project. It's a fun project. It's interesting, and it's important that the bidders take the responsibility for understanding what they are bidding on. So that being said, being the lawyer that I am, in book one, you of course have the contractual obligation that any failure to visit the site doesn't relieve you from the knowledge necessary to accurately bid and perform the work as per the contract documents. Any RFIs have to come to my attention. I'm the point of contact for this contract. james.borkman@cityofchicago.org. Current deadline for RFIs is December 8th at 4 p.m. That gives us time to ensure that we can issue out any addenda timely. That, of course, is subject to change via another addenda, but right now, December 8th, 4 p.m. The bid due date is December 19th at 11 a.m. We will stream the bid opening live, as is all PBC's bid openings are done. That'll be on our PBC's Facebook and YouTube pages. You can find links to those on the pbcchicago.com page or on the project opportunity page for this project. The PBC is getting better at accepting electronic submissions. So the last few bids that we've had, we have only accepted electronic submissions, and they've worked out well. We created an electronic submission Excel sheet that does all of the math for the bidders. We would ask you to use those sheets. So when you submit electronically, we need one complete copy of the bid document. That's the bid form that we'll go over momentarily. We need you to sign the documents in original, preferably in blue ink or digital signature. We need you to include proof of your bid bond. And we need the bid form in a word criteria sheet in a PDF form that's a single searchable document. And those can just be scanned and emailed to for submission by December 19th at 11 a.m., bids@pbcchicago.com, and myself. This ensures that we receive a copy and it's not put into spam. If your firm is unable to complete an electronic submission, which we find is actually much easier, please reach out to me and request the instructions for how to submit a traditional hard copy bid packet. Although I think for the most of you, you probably haven't submitted a hard copy bid packet in a number of years, especially since the pandemic. Following award, we will have following the bid opening, we will have a pre-award meeting on Wednesday, December 20th at 11 a.m. That's subject to change via addenda, of course. And then the notice of award is anticipated to go to our January board meeting. Following appointment, you'll have to provide a compliant COI and payment performance bond within 5 to 7 days of award. I briefly want to just go over the most common questions Patrice, the Director of Compliance, and myself receive as whenever we go through bids like this, design, bid, build projects. So briefly, I'd like to highlight a few items in book 1 and 2, and Patrice Doyle will step in and help me with the compliance areas. First, the budget, staffing, and additional requirements. Currently, we have estimated a construction budget, which can be found in book 1, page 4, of $1.8 to $2 million. We do have mandatory project staffing requirements listed on page 5 of book 1. Your scheduling software requirements are listed in book 1 as well. The liquidated damages, which we just went over, can be found in book 1. And the current set of prevailing wage rates, these are the Cook County prevailing wage rates. We also link those for use in book 1. So if people are looking for that information, it's all available in book 1. We also encourage joint venture opportunities. If you do wish to joint venture, which we love at the PBC, especially to increase M&W participation, the neighborhood and community participation, smaller Chicago-based firms. We have a Schedule B, which is a joint venture affidavit, can be found in book 1. And then we also ask for you to submit your joint venture agreement with your joint venture partner, as well as a certification letter. And remember that the city of Chicago and Cook County are the only 2 certifications that the PBC accepts. We are not a certifying agency, but we do accept City of Chicago and Cook County as certifications. Quickly, I will highlight key areas of the bid form. Although this is the hard copy bid form, it allows me to clearly indicate where your numbers will populate. You will, from the schedule of prices, this sheet, enter your unit price for each item listed on the schedule of prices. The total cost will auto-populate and will then populate on the base work only here. This math is all done for you. The total base bid will populate. You will enter your name, address for your surety, and your firm name, address, and date here for your firm's information. Nicely, we will also have auto population for your award criteria figure. You simply indicate the percentage by which you feel you're able to achieve journeyman, a minority apprentice, minority labor, etc. All of this math will then be done for you, and your total award criteria will populate. If you submit a hard copy, you'll have to do the math yourself, which I highly advise against. As someone who checks the math, it's not always fun to deal with fractions. Many of us, like myself, don't enjoy that. So I'll let Patrice talk a little bit about the book 1 and 2 award criteria figure and city residency and community hiring requirements for this project.
Good morning. Since this is a design, the DBB, the goals for EEO requirements are subject to the contractor submitting a bid, but the maximum requirement for minority journey workers, apprentice, and labor, if you so choose, is 70%. The maximum for female journey worker, female apprentice, female labor is 15%. Be mindful of setting your requirements for your EEO requirements, because if they are not met at the end of the project, there will be liquidated damages. For city residency, the goal requirement is 50%. For community hiring, is 7.5% requirement. Next slide, James. This is the community area for the Fillmore project. So 7.5% of the total workforce hours have to come from this community area identified on the map, which is included in the bid package. Next slide. I believe this is you, James.
Thank you, Patrice. The basis of award, we utilize the award criteria figure. So it's the lowest award criteria figure of the most responsible bidder. Remember, the PBC reserves the right to ensure that all bidders are responsive and responsible. Please ensure that your pricing for each line item carries your cost and share of the work, plus any overhead and profit. And finally, any bids that the PBC considers to be material unbalanced, we won't accept. We need to make sure that the information that we're reviewing, that the documents that you're submitting conform to the requirements that we've placed in the bid form, as well as Book 1's instructions to bidders. Please make sure that the entire bid form is complete. As I stated, we need to make sure that we have your surety information and your firm's information, so we can make sure that we're evaluating each bid. Patrice.
Okay. The MBE WB participation for this project is 26% MBE, 6% WBE. As James mentioned earlier, we only accept certification from City of Chicago or Cook County, and the firm must be certified in the scope of work that they're performing. If they are not, they cannot receive credit. Manufacturers receive 100% credit, suppliers receive 60%, and brokers 0%. Also, if they are subletting any work to a non-MBE or WBE, they cannot receive participation for that credit amount. So that's something else that you should identify when you're identifying your MBEs and WBE contractors. More information can be found in Book 2, Article 23. Next slide, James. PBC utilized B2G now as a tracking system for our MBE WBE compliance monitoring. Again, as mentioned, manufacturers receive 100% credit, suppliers receive 60% credit, and brokers receive 0. And this is identified on their certification letter, or if you find them in a directory, it also lets you know what they're certified in. The Schedule D should be completed by the general contractor that is submitting the bid package, and the Schedule C should be completed by the MBE and or WBE firm. The Schedule D, some of the concerns is this is the credit amount. This might not be the contract amount. Again, if it's a supplier and it is 60% credit, the credit amount for the MBE or WBE firm will be identified on the Schedule D, and the contract amount will be identified on the Schedule C. And the Schedule C, the second page, the subcontracting levels is where the MBE or WBE firms often forget to put the information. So again, if a MBE is subbing out work to a non-MBE contractor, they cannot receive credit. So if the contract value is $100,000 and they're subbing out 10% of work, this is not the supply, it is the work that's being performed, they can only receive 90% credit. But the 100% contract value, $100,000 contract value should appear on the Schedule C. The amount that's being sublet to a MBE, WBE, or non-MBE, if there is any, the percentage should also appear on page 2. If there isn't any subcontracting from the MBE or WBE firm, it should be 0. And again, it should be completed by the subcontractor, not the prime contractor. Thanks, James.
Thank you. So last but not least, before we get into the tech review portion, I just want to again remind everyone that the sole point of contact for this procurement is myself, James.Borkman at cityofchicago.org. Happy to take any RFIs up until the RFI date listed in Book 1 and as discussed earlier. With that, I will turn it over to the technical review team, who I think Tom or Nick, David, I'd like you to, of course, start, but Tom or Nick, I think will take it from there.
Great. Yeah, thank you, James. CDOT, again, we're very excited to be partnering with the Public Building Commission to procure and deliver another important public improvement. I think our last project went very smoothly. I think we've worked together to have a very high quality set of contract documents and identify any potential issues, and looking forward to building out this new street. Project location, West Fillmore Street. This is in the near West Side community area, kind of in the Chara Taylor neighborhood, a couple blocks west of Western. Our work is entirely within public right-of-way. We are abutting Union Pacific Railroad property on the west, but our work does not infringe on that railroad property. And this is essentially new street construction to enable further development of this area. New City of Chicago street. So with that, I'll turn it over to Nick to go into some of the technical details on this project.
Morning, everyone. Thanks, Dave. As you can see on the aerial view there, Fillmore currently dead ends at Campbell Street. So the project will construct a new street west of Campbell. It's about a block long, 660 feet approximately. We'll go through the existing conditions, which are rather unique compared to some other projects, as well as the proposed conditions. On the top picture there, that's a picture of Campbell looking north. So the improvements will include the intersection of Fillmore and Campbell, and the street construction will move to the west, which is to the left of that picture. On the arrow, you can see it there. Like Dave mentioned, it's new street construction, which can be somewhat unique for the City of Chicago, which is pretty built out these days. It does run between two private properties, currently built out residences on the south, as well as an open lot there. and then businesses on the north side of what will be Fillmore Avenue. The width through that area currently varies. It's providing access to those residences as well as to the private business. So 24 to 32 feet is the current roadway width. Additional existing conditions here. As we mentioned, there's no real street west of Campbell Avenue. It is brick pavers along the residences there to the south of those two fences, the wood and the chain link fence, and then a driveway and parking lot access north of the fences there, providing access to a safe haven landscaping business as well as other businesses tucked back in there. Currently, you can see there's no curb and gutter north of the fences, which leads to some drainage issues, which are typical of all these WPA streets. There is currently sidewalk on the south side of the residential access points along and fronting the houses there, as shown. At Campbell and Fillmore, we will be improving pedestrian access by providing east-west access across Campbell, providing access at all four corners of the intersection. As I mentioned, there's currently fences, both chain link and wood slat fencing, that will need to be removed as part of the project. And those pavers south of the fences will also be removed as part of the overall reconstruction project. Right now, there is some utility conflicts. There are some utility conflicts along Fillmore and along Campbell. There are 6 utility poles maintained by ComEd or owned by ComEd. They are in the process of designing and submitting to OUC to relocate those poles. So that utility relocation will be done by ComEd. It will be designed by ComEd, and they will do the work as part of our larger project. There you can see the plan view of proposed Fillmore running from Campbell to the west, where it curves around in dead ends close to those railroad tracks. As part of the project, we will clear and grade primarily west of the existing residential access. We'll do full depth pavement reconstruction, and the roadway will be widened to a 30-foot continuous width for Fillmore. Curb and gutter will be installed on both sides of the street. North and south sides of Fillmore will have a new curb and gutter. The project also looks to construct new driveways and alley aprons. We'll show on further slides, but the driveway will be reconstructed off of Campbell on the northwest corner, and there's an alley apron construction at the western limits that curves around to the south. For stormwater, there are proposed catch basins that will be installed as part of the project. We are also removing existing sewer main line. There's a 12-inch sewer line in the eastern portion of the project that will be removed and replaced with an 18-inch sewer main. And that 18-inch sewer main will continue to the west, just beyond the curve at the western limits. There's a manhole which will be installed and will tie into there. Also on the east leg of Fillmore, just east of Campbell, we are relocating 2 sewer structures. They're currently located within the ADA ramps, so we are moving those around to the east and getting them out of the pedestrian crossing area. You can see those 2 catch basins on the bottom right of the slide there. As I mentioned, there will be new sidewalk on the south side of Fillmore, a continuation of the sidewalk currently located in front of the residences. But we are not proposing sidewalk on the north side of Fillmore. So just on the south side and connecting to the sidewalk currently existing in front of the houses there. We're also doing ADA improvements at the corners at the intersection of Campbell and Fillmore. As I just mentioned, new ADA ramps at the corners. Some grading examples are shown there for the northeast and southeast corners. As you know, typical, each corner will have ADA ramps, ADA tiles installed, the cast iron tiles, for relocating those catch basins to get them out of the corners and out of the pedestrian crossing areas. And that intersection will have new pavement markings to delineate the crosswalks at the intersection. Pretty extensive landscaping is proposed just on the south side of Fillmore. Some tree examples are shown there at the bottom. Those trees have been recommended by the Bureau of Forestry. So those trees will be installed as part of the project, as well as sod in the parkway on the south side of Fillmore. As I mentioned, driveway improvements to provide access to the Safe Haven landscaping business. That will be installed on the west side of Campbell, just north of Fillmore. That'll be a 35-foot driveway. There is currently a gate that prohibits access, during off hours to the business. The property owner will relocate that gate and align it to the proposed driveway. The contractor, as part of this project, is required to maintain access to the business located north of proposed Fillmore. So that's something to keep in mind. This project will require a little more coordination compared to the previous WPA project with businesses located north of Fillmore. That work there will take place after ComEd has taken care of their relocation, because their poles are currently located in the proposed driveway location. Also, a new part of the scope for Fillmore is proposed water main. The water main will be replaced in its entirety along Fillmore, and there will be two new fire hydrants installed as part of the project, as noted there in those inserts. And then there are currently water service lines that provide water to those residences on the south side of Fillmore, closer to Campbell. Those service lines will be replaced as part of the project as well. So again, this project requires coordination with DWM Water to ensure the water is transferred over to those new services correctly and safely. There is also proposed lighting on this project. Just on the south side of Fillmore, the new streetlights will have the piggyback lighting, which provides lighting for pedestrians on the sidewalk, as well as the typical street lighting for vehicles on the roadway. The new lamps will be the LED standard that CDOT has been installing, DO has been installing. So that's a typical lighting installation project for Fillmore. And that concludes the technical review. Dave or Jackie, if you have anything to add, if I missed or forgot anything, please add.
Thanks, Nick. I think you covered it well.
Yes,
Yeah.
great work. Thanks.
Thank you.
Just a reminder that access will need to be maintained for that business. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah.
And then we do have our contract officer from the PBC from the development side, Louis Chavez. He is on the call. Unfortunately, he has a technical issue, so is only able to listen. But with that, I will turn it over to Veronica or Daryl. If anyone has any questions for us, we're happy to answer them now.
This is Daryl from Passion. I don't have any questions at this time. If we do, we'll submit them.
No questions, Daryl? Nothing exciting?
No, not right now, no.
We like that. Means Nick did a great job. Veronica? Okay, I'll take silence as consent. I know that Louis can't say anything, but just as a reminder, sole point of contact is myself. Daryl, if you have anything further questions, make sure you submit them to me. I'm happy to get them in an RFI and answer them as quickly as possible. I again want to thank our partners at CDOT. We really have put together, I think, a great relationship and program working on these projects, and we look forward to many more. So with that, I will stop the recording and everyone is free to go. Thank you again for attending the WPA Works Progress Administration Street Reconstruction Fillmore Street Pre-Bid and Tech Review.